So today I want to peel back a little bit on what we do in the space in these videos that we call the Church Beyond the Building. We originally started them in the dark days of the pandemic, and the thinking amongst the powers that be at the time is that people aren't going to listen to a full sermon, so we need to take the content that would normally be there and break it up into bite-sized bits that we could actually interact with throughout the week. That turned out not to be true. People sat through sermons and we all sat through sermons just fine, regardless of your opinion. That wasn't the case. But then we had this moment where we went, what do we do with this space? And since then, we have been unwilling and unable to let it go. And I want to tell you about why, right? The reason why we still do these things is really because of what the church, at least in my opinion, I think is really about. And that's to say the church is about formation, right? The point of a church is people coming together to live their faith and life out together alongside one another to be formed into people who are more like Jesus. And the reality that you and I all know is that that takes time and investment and involvement, right? What it looks like to do all of this involves just interaction with one another. A church isn't a voting machine. It's not a group of people who share a philosophy or worldview or theology, though we do those things from time to time. A church is a group of people that exist to live and bend their lives slowly to be more and more like Christ, right? The word we often use for that is discipleship. And it talks about it, Jesus talks about it at the end of his ministry in the book of Matthew. In Matthew 28, in what's often called the Great Commission, and something that's well known, where he says to his disciples, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me, and therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And so this is a reminder for what we do in this space. Again, it's not like we're just not looking to inspire someone or make you feel good or create space, though those things happen and they're important. What we're trying to do in these moments and throughout the week is to help us bend our lives to become more like Jesus. Again, to become people who say what he said and do what he did. And that involves more than 75 minutes on a Sunday. I think that what we do on Wednesday and Thursday matters more than what we do on a Sunday. And while glorifying God is incredibly important, how we live our lives matters more. Right? If we are to become the people that God calls and longs for us to be, it involves us being the church more than when we gather on a Sunday, but in all of our actions and orientations and interactions with people outside the building. So I just want to remind you of that and encourage you of that. It's a long road. There's many challenges to come, but there's a lot of fruit, and that is the work of a church, and that is the work of the kingdom. Grace and peace, friends. Have a good week.